Tell me something. Have you ever wondered why some women choose to be alone? Why they walk through life without a boyfriend? Without a partner and without anyone to call theirs? Some people think it's loneliness. Others think it's a phase. But what if I told you it's something far deeper? Something that most men fail to understand? Because behind every woman who chooses solitude, there's a story. A story of heartbreak, of betrayal, of lessons learned the hard way. A story of a woman who once gave her heart to someone, only to have it shattered into pieces. So she makes a choice to stand on her own, to build herself up, and to never depend on a man again. But is she truly free? Or is she running from something? Stay with me till the end of this video, because today, we're uncovering a truth that no one dares to talk about. You see, when a woman lives alone, society calls her strong. They say she's independent. But deep down, is she really happy? Or is she just protecting herself from another heartbreak? Because the truth is, women who walk this path don't just wake up one day and decide, I don't need love. No, something happened. A moment, a betrayal. A wound so deep that it changed her forever. And whether you're a man trying to understand why she won't open up to you, or you're a woman questioning why love feels so distant, this video will open your eyes in ways you never expected. Today we're breaking down 7 undeniable facts about women who live alone without a boyfriend. But before we dive in, I want you to do something. If you've ever had your heart broken, if you've ever loved someone who let you down, hit that like button right now. Let's see how many of us have walked this painful road. And if you're new here, subscribe to Stoic Lifeline TM, because we talk about real life wisdom, real emotions, and the brutal truths no one else will tell you. Now let's begin, but before we go deeper, I have a challenge for you. Drop a comment right now and share your love story. Tell me, have you ever been with someone who changed your life? Someone who made you believe in love, only to disappear and leave you questioning everything? Because the truth is, we all have that one person who made us who we are today, and maybe, just maybe, we are still healing from it. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's uncover the truth together. Fact 1. She masters the art of self-sufficiency. She used to think that loving someone meant being dependent on them. The pinnacle of success was having a committed partnership. She believed that a guy would provide her with the happiness and stability she so desperately needed. Perhaps you have also experienced it. Think back on the one person you truly cared about, that person in whom you had complete faith. Whoever said they would love you but then abandoned you broke your heart. Those assurances were also believed by her. Unbeknownst to her, she had discovered her soulmate, until the day she lost it all. Maybe someone betrayed you. Perhaps it was the agonizing dawning on her that she was putting out more energy than she was getting back. Perhaps the most devastating realization that she was battling for someone who had already let go was the one that hit her the hardest. And then it dawned on her. She was holding out hope that someone else may fulfill her happiness. She thought a person, a connection, or love would make her whole. However, why is that? For some reason, she felt incomplete without a partner. For some reason, she felt inadequate when she was by herself. She then made a choice that would alter the course of her life irrevocably. She ceased to wait. Quit pleading. She lost the conviction that love could be earned. She ended up becoming the precise thing she had been looking for in another person. She figured out how to take care of herself emotionally and financially. No one was necessary to affirm her existence, reassure her, or support her when she was weak. For the simple reason that she became her own solid ground. Most people fall short in this area. They strive to fill an empty space in their lives by hopping from relationship to relationship. When all they need is someone to help them out, they run for love like it's a magic bullet, its own essence. This was deduced by her. Because of that, she became unbeatable. I want you to tell me, how many times have you let someone into your heart just to have them abandon you? On what number of occasions have you pondered the question, why weren't you enough? You were enough no matter what, but what if I told you that? Would you believe me if I said that the true strength is in the realization that you can become someone without relying on anybody else? Never again will your history, your suffering, or your ex be able to shatter you after you accomplish this, since you'll be doing something that the majority of people never do. Strength in being self-sufficient. Fact 2. She embraces solitude as a source of strength. Most individuals experience anxiety when they are not accompanied by someone else. It causes them to flee because they are afraid to face themselves. They fill their life with superficial connections, transitory solutions, and distractions. Although she was not one of them, The reason being that she has experienced the shadows. The stillness has been her seat. There has been a time when she has slept alone, and she knows what it's like to feel the weight of the night without a companion. Instead of allowing herself to be crushed by it, it had a profound effect on her. Consider this. How does being alone affect you? Are thoughts of your ex-partner beginning to creep into your head? Is the thought of seeing their name on your phone anything that makes you seek for it? Are you trying to avoid thinking about what you've lost by making noise whenever there's silence? Also, she did. But suddenly, a profound realization hit her. Being alone does not mean being lonely. Freedom is it. Because true self-mastery comes from learning to be alone. Someone else isn't necessary for your fulfillment anymore. You have stopped seeking approval. The stillness no longer frightens. You sense it is there, that you discover your authentic self. Plus, this alters the whole situation. She has broken free from abusive relationships driven by her fear of being alone. She has finally stopped lowering her standards in search of companionship. She opts to prioritize herself instead. She lives out her aspirations, giving her mind a boost. She finds solace in being alone with herself. Because of this, she will not settle for love when it returns. She has zero tolerance for rudeness. Real love, not fake love, will win her heart. She isn't the kind to readily let her guard down. Why? Because she is self-assured. If she were to spend time with someone who doesn't appreciate her, she would prefer to be alone. And now I have a question for you. How many years have you squandered clinging to an unworthy person? When faced with the prospect of being alone, how often have you sacrificed your happiness to avoid that prospect? Well, what if you began to welcome your time alone rather than dread it? What if you made the most of this period to strengthen yourself to the point that you are no longer vulnerable when love returns? Then you won't have to beg to be picked. Who gets to make the call? You do. And it is the place where you will discover genuine power, my buddy. Fact 3. She develops emotional control and inner peace. She was highly reactive in the past. The day might be ruined by just one text, a little quarrel, or a heartless response from someone she cared about. Her emotions got the best of her. She let other people to control her thoughts, emotions, and joy. Perhaps you have as well. Perhaps you have experienced the frustration of waiting for a missed message while fixated on your phone. Perhaps you're familiar with the crushing feeling of seeing an ex-lover carry on as if you didn't exist. Possibly you have pleaded for some kind of resolution, some kind of explanation, anything to put an end to the anguish. I must inquire though, have you ever felt better after doing it? Have you ever gotten them back by pursuing, overthinking, or sobbing yourself to sleep? Or did it only heighten your sense of powerlessness? That's just what she understood. She had been a captive of her feelings for far too long. She spent an excessive amount of time letting individuals who didn't merit it into her heart. She spends much too much time getting swept away by love or its absence. She changed her behavior nonetheless on a single occasion. She ceased to respond. She chose to remain mute as her ex-boyfriend attempted to tease her. She restrained herself from pleading for love whenever she felt the want. She drew a deep breath and recalled, when her emotions threatened to overwhelm her, she has command. And not her ex-boyfriend either. Ignoring her history, absent the discomfort, indeed she is. And that was the turning point. Simply said, you regain control of your situation the moment you stop reacting. Consider all the time and effort you've squandered on someone who doesn't care anymore. Have you ever cried yourself to sleep because someone you cared about has moved on? Instead of crumbling, what if you decided to stand tall? Imagine a world where you are completely content with who you are, and no one can ever threaten your stability, rather than constantly searching for love. Herein lies the strength of commanding one's emotions. When she finally got the hang of it, she was unstoppable. Fact 4. She becomes more financially and mentally free. Love, she used to believe, was all that mattered, that everything would fall into place if she met the one. But she was wrong, because love alone doesn't pay the bills. Love alone doesn't give you freedom. Love alone doesn't make you powerful. And maybe you've felt this too. Maybe you've stayed in a relationship that was horrible for you, because you were frightened of being alone, because you rely on them. But she refused to live like way. She had seen too many people, especially women, stay in relationships because they couldn't afford to leave, because they were too mentally trapped to walk away, and she swore she would never be that weak again. So she stopped chasing love. Instead, she built herself up. She concentrated on her money, her objectives, her freedom. She worked harder. She gained talents. She grew so financially and mentally strong that she never had to rely on someone else again. And that's when everything changed. Because when you have freedom, you don't settle for less. Once you're self-sufficient, you're able to pick and choose who you let into your life. She gained such strength that she no longer lets herself be pushed into romantic relationships. Rather, she does it voluntarily. And I must inquire of you this. To those who never genuinely cared about you, how much of your life have you sacrificed? How many times have you reduced your expectations? Because you believed you couldn't do better? But what if you stopped waiting for someone to save you? What if you grew so strong, so free, so powerful that no one could ever hold you back again? That's exactly what she did. And that's precisely what you can do too. Fact 5. She cultivates a deeper sense of purpose. She used to believe that love was her life's mission. She thought that all her problems would disappear once she met the one. A kind, unique someone who would make her feel special. Perhaps you had a similar impression. You may have waited a long time for someone to adore you just the way you are. Maybe all you've done is give your time, your energy, your heart, and now all you feel is agony. And once they departed, what transpired? Nothing filled you. They were more than a person, they were the reason you lived. And without them, your very identity was lost. It was also her feeling. Perhaps you too have sat in alone after a breakup and asked yourself the following agonizing questions. What was I doing all this time? Why did I make them my everything? Who am I without them? And then it dawned on her. She neglected her own development in favor of focusing on her relationships. As a result, she broke her own rule. She made the conscious decision to fill the emptiness inside herself rather than seek solace in another relationship. Her education began. Perusing a book, she is making progress toward her objectives. She contemplated, what do I truly want from life? Putting herself first was a first for her. Her own personal development became her primary focus. Something startling occurred to her as she matured. The agony began to subside. Reason being, she did not find love again. Not because her ex-boyfriend returned. However, due to the fact that she uncovered something really potent, an inherent meaning that could not be diminished. Moreover, I must inquire, in the throes of love, have you ever been completely consumed? When someone departed, did you find yourself completely depleted of the resources you had invested in them? If that's the case, maybe we should follow her lead. Perhaps it's time to quit trying to find fulfillment in other people, and instead, focus on creating a life of such strength that love is an added benefit, not an absolute need. The people in your life may come and go, but your mission will remain constant. Fact 6. She forms stronger and more meaningful connections. She had a lot of friends and acquaintances back when. Those we call friends. Those who love. Social contacts. On the inside, though, she was lonely. No doubt you've experienced that as well. Perhaps you have occupied yourself, surrounded yourself with others, or tried to escape by using social media, dating apps, brief flings, etc. Do you feel genuinely connected to somebody when you're alone at night and the noise fades away? Not her, since she had been prioritizing quantity above quality in her pursuits. More friends, more dates, and more attention, she reasoned, must mean she was liked. However, love and attention are different. She discovered this the difficult way. Following her most recent split, she took stock of her surroundings and came to the realization that she was completely unknown. They were familiar with the her who would laugh at their jokes, agree with their views, and conform to their every whim. Their ignorance of her suffering was alarming. Aspirations of hers. She has challenges. She is authentic. Plus, she pondered the question to herself.
What's the point of having so many people around me?
If I still feel alone? At that moment, she made the choice that would shape her life forever. Those she was talking to were abandoned. Without wrath, please, not out of vengeance. However, now that she grasped the concept, having just one genuine, meaningful relationship is preferable to having 100 superficial ones. She no longer entertained phony acquaintances. Men who desired her in part no longer received her time and attention. Choosing her friends and family becomes her priority. Plus, the most incredible thing happened. The right people began to enter her life as soon as she began to set higher standards. The instant she began to choose depth over shallowness, it was her admirers. Those who believed in her ambitions. Those curious about her true nature. May I inquire of you, In your life, how many connections hold genuine significance? If all you had to give was your spirit, how many people would still be around? If you are unsure of your response, perhaps now is the moment to follow her lead. Get off the futile pursuit of meaningless connections. Quit wasting time and energy on individuals who don't provide any value to your life. Instead, focus on becoming madly in love with yourself, to the point that you attract nothing but admirers. Your life will be altered irrevocably the moment you establish genuine connections. Fact 7. She becomes a true Stoic, unshaken by external circumstances. She was impacted by everything at one point. A belated response from a dear one? Her whole day was wrecked. A little disagreement? It caused her to doubt the relationship in every way. Split? Her entire universe was rocked. Perhaps you too have experienced this. Maybe you've experienced a profound love that consumed you, whether it was via their words, deeds, or complete absence. Perhaps you've spent many an insomniac hour glued to your phone, anticipating a message that never arrived. Perhaps you found yourself mentally reliving past talks, contemplating, to what extent am I to blame? For what reason have they stopped loving me? Were my worthless qualities not perceived? During that time, it seemed like everything was coming crashing down. She also felt that way before she discovered one of the profoundest truths of Stoicism. No one can manage your feelings but you, unless you let them. She came to the realization that she had been sharing her joy with others who had never earned it. She had been finding solace in relationships that were actually causing her more harm than good. She then decided that was the last one. Her value would never be defined by what other people thought of her again. She vowed she would never again allow herself to feel inadequate because of a broken romance. Her inner calm would never be dictated by outside forces again. Why? Because at last she got it. Her own pleasure is solely dependent on her own actions. As soon as she accepted this reality, a miraculous change occurred. She ceased her pursuit. No longer did she seek approval, adoration, or attention by pleading. She became emotionally resilient, unflappable, and grounded, that she kept her grin on her face even as others attempted to harm her. She did not implore those who departed to remain. Instead of crumbling when her love ended, she blossomed. The reason being that she now possessed an irreplaceable asset: mastery of her own thoughts. I have a question for you, but have you ever allowed the behavior of another person to disrupt your serenity? Is it possible that you've let a toxic friend, ex, or other person live rent-free in your head, dictating how you feel, what you think, and whether or not you're happy? If that's the case, maybe we should follow her lead. Perhaps I should quit putting my hopes in other people's hands for happiness. Perhaps it's time to toughen up psychologically and emotionally, that you are unbreakable no matter what or who tries to break you. Because people may abandon you. Deterioration of love is possible. Anything may happen. When you're genuinely unmoved, though, there is no denying your continued strength, whatever may happen. Conclusion: the power of living alone. According to Stoicism, when it comes to women who choose to live alone, what is the truth? Those things are strong. They are still out there. Nobody is going to save them while they wait for love. Something far more potent than love has been discovered by them. Now they know who they are. And if you're seeing this and have ever felt lost or unsure about your direction in life, keep this in mind. You are not lonely just because you are alone. That you can handle things alone is a sign of your strength. Furthermore, the most of individuals will never comprehend that. I have something I need you to accomplish before you go. For those who have experienced heartbreak, had to start over, or prioritize their own needs over those of other people, this post is for you. Please press the like button if you can relate. Also hit that subscribe button if you're all about learning and developing as a person and getting to the heart of the matters of love and life. Above all else, tell us your tale in the space provided. Please get in touch with me. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.